Shabbat shalom, everyone. For one of my pulpit rotations in rabbinical school, I was at a shul in the East Village. Your pretty typical conservative shul, big, beautiful building, wrestling with the balance of tradition and innovation, celebrating a long and impressive history while trying to create a vibrant and successful future. A pretty standard for our movement. And I had a lot of really amazing experiences at that synagogue. I met incredible people and mentors, inspiring lay leaders who were dedicated not just to the synagogue community, but really to the success of the new generations of Jewish New Yorkers. It was wonderful. It was a really profound learning experience. But, as is unfortunately often the case, the first thing that I think of when I think about my time in that synagogue is a negative interaction that I had. Now, I know and I acknowledge that I can be a sensitive soul, that I can take things personally and dwell on them, but this, I know for certain, is not just a me thing. We as people often let the negative drive the conversation, drive our memory, drive our thoughts and feelings about places, about people, about moments. We can have 99 amazing experiences and one bad one, and you know what we'll focus on? The bad. Exactly. And so here is that negative nugget for me when I think of an otherwise incredible year of serving a community. We were at morning minyan, and I was wrapped in talit and tefillin, and while I was sitting down, eyes closed, tzitzit in my hand, davening the Shema, a finger poked me in the shoulder, and I opened my eyes, and I looked up at one of the congregants who had a very angry look on her face as she said, "Excuse me, that's my seat." I, of course, apologized profusely and moved. After all, I was a guest, not a dues-paying member of the synagogue, just a lowly rabbinical student learning how to be a good rabbi. But the more I've thought about that interaction then and the more I think about it now, I realize that there's absolutely no chance that I was the first person that this woman had said that to. And there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that some of the recipients of that line took it much worse than I did. And they felt terribly embarrassed and uncomfortable, and most importantly, unwelcomed. Unwelcomed. And in that regard, that woman wasn't just being rude or entitled. She was conveying a really strong message. And one of those messages that stick with you. Even if you've had 100 amazing experiences, it sticks with you. Regardless of how positive everything else is, that message that she conveyed is, this seat, this place, isn't for you, it's for me. And of course, this interaction isn't unique to that specific conservative shul. In fact, I would venture to say that there is probably not a conservative congregation where that same interaction hasn't taken place. And there's only so much about that is the problem of an institution, right? There's only so much that we can do. We can't control when certain people say insensitive things. But a much larger problem, a greater problem, is that for a really long time, way too long, these conservative synagogues, these conservative shuls, these communities didn't really care. What is problematic is how congregations have taken these unfortunate occurrences of embarrassing folks, putting folks off, or just plain rejecting folks, that they've only taken it seriously when it not so coincidentally became imperative to do so. And I'm not, for the record, just talking about assigned seats anymore. You see, a lot of the important changes that we've made as a movement, a lot of the important changes that we've made throughout different synagogues across the country came at a time when the golden age of conservative Judaism was coming to an end. Sanctuaries weren't nearly as full, membership numbers were down, and congregations were scrambling and continue to scramble to figure out what to do. And for the first time, here's the problem. For the first time, many congregations and synagogues and organizations said, we haven't been super inclusive. We haven't been the most welcoming that we could be. And maybe, just maybe, if we start to change our stances on certain hot button issues, maybe if we become a little more accepting, then we can get those numbers back up. And in many synagogues and in many organizations, and yes, well beyond the walls of religious institutions, that mindset continues today. A mindset that offers to say, I know you didn't have a seat before, but now we'd love to have you. Last night, in a small church basement in Ferndale, right off of Woodward and right off of 9 Mile, our Shaarey Zedek village group gathered together with Next Gen, with The Well, with Congregation Techia, and with 75 of our closest friends to celebrate Pride. And there is so much to celebrate from last night. It was a beautiful event. And if anyone would like to know more about what we did and the program that we put on, please come find me at lunch. I'd be happy to tell you all about the program. But the most important piece from last night was that together we celebrated Pride for the sake of celebrating Pride. We weren't recruiting. We weren't there to snatch up LGBTQ identifying Jews and having them boost our membership numbers. Last night we were celebrating Pride together as a community because it's a good thing and a holy thing to come together and celebrate Pride as a community. And I want to take a moment this morning to say thank you. Because I believe that this is what this congregation does. And it is something that I love about who we are. Cynics and opportunists see inclusion as a marketing gimmick. That inclusion is a tool to reach a desired financial or numbers goal. And we see that all the time in our society. And we can feel just how gross, how yucky it is. The fact that we are having in this country important conversations about dignity and respect and love, not through meaningful and productive dialogue or even political conversations, but through a manipulation of the stock market, is a testament to how far we've fallen as a respectful society. Not here. Not here. Here in this home of ours, we don't talk about who gets a seat based on Budweiser or Target boycotts. Nor should we. Because here at Congregation Shaarey Zedek, we are proving that inclusivity is not about filling the pews. Inclusivity, equality, and celebration of our different backgrounds and experiences is about Torah. It's about Torah. We're not perfect. We have a ways to go, for sure. And we can always do better. But I am proud of where we are. And I'm proud of where we are going because we are doing it L'Shem Shamayim. We're doing it for the sake of heaven. We're listening to each other for the sake of heaven. We're learning, even when learning is really hard and really uncomfortable, for the sake of heaven. And we're opening our doors and we're pulling up chairs for no other reason than because it is who we are. There are still Far too many synagogues where the message, sadly, is, you're in my seat. And there are also far too many synagogues where the message is, we don't care who you are, nor are we interested in finding out who you are as long as you buy a seat. That's not inclusion. That's not joyful. That's not accepting and celebratory Judaism. That's not Torah. These open doors and these open hearts are what it's all about. And when we disagree and when we argue, that too is Torah. Because it's for the sake of us really learning from one another, growing together, seeing each other, really seeing each other. That is pride. And I am so incredibly proud that we can stand here together and that what we stand for here together is pride. Pride in who we are, pride in where we know we can go, and doing it not because it's trendy, not because we have seats to fill, but because it is right, because it is good, because it is Torah. As people, we are built to remember the negative, the unpleasant, the things, the people, the moments that make us feel bad, less than, unwelcomed. It's not fair, but that is how we are wired. No doubt there have been times when we've rubbed people the wrong way, when we've said the wrong thing or missed something important. It happens. It happens. And it's unfortunate when it happens. But it happens. But I believe, truly believe, that when someone new to our community has the courage to walk through those doors and walk into a room where they might not know a soul, I believe they realize quickly that they have a seat. I think they know they count. I think they know they matter. And that is because of you. That's because of you. Pride is about just that. It's about being proud of who you are, knowing that you are made b'tselem Elohim, in the divine image. And it's about knowing that you, because you are you, beautiful, unique, and loved you, have a seat, have a place, have a home here. Shabbat shalom, everyone. We'll continue.